My advice to engineers would really be to explore the values underneath the work that we do. I think all too often we're focused on what we do, but not who we are becoming through that process. And so I think really investing in what are my core values, what is it that I care about more deeply than even the work that I do in the world. So I think reflecting on that foundational operating system of who we are is actually very significant. And paying attention to that, exploring that, being curious about that, seeing how others are processing it is worthy of our investment, especially in our early years. Somebody asked me recently, they said, if you had to give an advice to your 16-year-old self, what would that be? And I was thinking about that, and I was like, well, what would that be? And I realized that I think when I was younger, I had put a lot of premium on my effort, that I go and I set a goal, and I work hard to get to that goal. If I don't get there, I just try harder. And that was the narrative in my head. And I said, probably, I think the equation I would have had in my teen years and even growing into my 20s would be that maybe 10% was unexplained sort of factors, contextual factors, and 90% was my effort. And I think I'm now at a point where I flipped that I think we do have to do our effort. I think 10% is my effort. But I have a lot more faith in the emergence, right? The 90% that shapes us. And when you hold yourself in that way, you hold what you're doing in a much lighter way. You hold what you're thinking in a much lighter way. You start to create a very different sense of identity. And so I would say explore the spectrum from effort to emergence and see where you land. That's the advice I would give to myself. I hold it lightly. Yeah, I was at the White House one time, and we were doing a circle around that very question. And it was interesting because what came to my mind, and I happened to be like the first or second person to speak, so I hadn't really thought too deeply. I'm like, on the spot, what do I say? And what I said was that I read something in the New York Times where someone had paid for coffee for the person after them. And that person then paid for the person after them, and that chain continued for 226 people. That gives me hope that we have a natural propensity to respond to love and connection with greater love and connection. That fundamentally, underneath all our tribulations, there is an undercurrent of oneness that's there. And I think we have the capacity and we have the apparatus to experience that. And we all do in small ways and big. But I think when we do that, those moments, or even those examples where everyone is paying forward, gives me tremendous hope, or maybe even makes me brings a smile to my face and makes me optimistic and gives me great joy in the here and now.